Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us to the Path to Perfect Health for Life. And tonight we are going to be talking about a subject that I'm very passionate about. So let's get right into it. So first of all, the introduction for this week is week number 1 for July, and the introduction is scalar technology. Now, that is kind of one of those things is like, okay, that's not something I've heard of. Well, that you are not alone in that. It is actually one of those things that is one of those well-held secrets of times gone by, but we're going to go in a little bit in depth in it and just give the basics of what scalar technology does. So first of all, scalar technology has been around forever. It is, no matter what your beliefs are, in creation or evolution, it has been around. It is part of our environment. It is part of us. It is part of what the earth is, made of and works with. And so with it being like that, it is not something that humans made or invented, but actually discovered. Now, with the scalar technology, it works in harmony with nature. So there's kind of a separation there. It's like, yes, scalar technology is part of our universe, part of it, but it also works in harmony with waterfalls and oceans and water and ground and all of those things. And so when we're looking at this is not a hokey thing. This is just as much of like gravity as it is with scalar technology. Now, over in the past, there have been lots of different names for scalar technology. There has zero point energy has been one of them, and there's many others, but scalar technology is one of the most recent ones and kind of encompasses it a little bit more. Now, even though scalar technology is around us, what man has done to nature actually mutes the scalar technology. It makes it not be able to give us that benefit that it has normally should be giving and naturally should be giving. And unfortunately, that is kind of a theme. We do hear that in multiple things, that nature gets drowned out and it causes problems. Well, this is not an exception to that. So using brilliant minds like Nikola Tesla, as just one example, we're able to create that natural energy using technology. So really, scalar energy is scalar energy in nature, but then with using technology, it becomes scalar technology. And so it's mimicking that reaction that it happens naturally. Now, why this is beneficial is because it's not the natural equivalent, or it's not the natural occurrence of it. We're able to have very large frequencies of this, even though it is with us in our modern technology, with as we just saw, the cars and all this and that, it is able to keep that very high frequency. Now, what can we do with this? What is our ability? Well, in simple, it's to help. That is, I believe, probably the single mission across the board with everybody who's been involved in the company, is that once you learn about this, you want to help and you can help. And that's why I brought this forward as well, is because of my experience with scalar technology. I was having severe issues after my brain injury, and I was falling. And I was introduced to it by Derek Bain, who is a senior vice president in our company. And he said, you need to try this first. And I would never go back now. I use this for everything, and you should want to help other people. Now, scalar energy is a kinetic energy. So when you combine a kinetic energy, which is an energy all of its own, with the ability for the magnetic field of the earth and grounding. I'm not sure if you're familiar with grounding, but grounding is your electrical impulses being balanced because of the earth's magnetic field. So when you combine all of these together, it makes a extremely dynamic force that helps in so many things. So this is just the actual foundation for why scalar energy works so well. Now, because of tires and cement and the way our houses are built and our rubber tennis shoes and all of those things, it prevents our lives from getting the benefit naturally that you would be able to get from grounding. Now, normally you have to go out into the grass and you have to walk straight on the grass and with bare feet so that you get that electrical pull, the magnetic pull to reset your own energy level. Well, with these aspects, which of course comes back down to, today's technology, it prevents us from doing that, which means that a lot of health problems get introduced, on top of course, what we talked about last month, the water we drink that can have a contributing effect, and of course what we will talk about in the next couple months is the food that we have that would contribute. But this also makes a big difference. In the past, people were living where they touched the ground regularly. They were either working in the ground and getting their crops or doing small gardening for their families. Their houses were more simple. It was with wood or with dirt. Our shoes were leather or other substances. But because of what we have done, which is supposed to help improve our life, but it also has decreased our ability to do that centering with the earth, which is for our health benefit. So now looking at the fact that, okay, we've got scalar technology and we've got the need to be able to ground with the earth so that we can have that healthfulness. So that is what happens with the scalar products, is that we next week we will go into the actual scientific breakdown. This was the introduction to scalar energy, so several people who have not had experiences with scalar want to make sure that we gave the basics of it. But with our scalar products, now these are just some basic products that are available, but it goes faster than the speed of light. So because of that, it allows you to do that grounding wherever you are, no matter what shoes you have on. It goes so fast, and it being its own kinetic energy, it's always charging and charging your cells. It helps with all of these benefits that natural grounding does just as much. So improves our mood, improves our sleep, reduces pain, reduces stress, improves wound healing, improves immunity, reduces inflammation, and reduces jet lag. Now, just imagine the reducing inflammation. It has become widely known that inflammation is the cause to most health circumstances nowadays. So by having this natural energy that helps us be able to reconnect with the earth, we are helping ourselves in all of these things. And I'm going to guarantee you there's nobody on here who isn't experiencing some of these problems and want to have the relief. Now, I use scalar energy for absolutely everything. Just to give an example, for improved wound healing, I actually cut my finger really horribly about 8 months ago or so, and it it was pretty much the whole end was like filleted off. And I was able to use cellular fence, which we learned last week, to make sure that it was clean. I pushed it back on and then used scalar energy, and now you wouldn't know. I don't think you can see my fingerprint right now, but you wouldn't know that I have had this wound, and I have all feeling in my finger. And that's just one example. I've used it on bruises where it goes away. I've used it on, swelling. I've used it on many things. In fact, Guy Douglas was telling me the other day that he was like, yeah, my ankle was swelling, and it just hit me. Why am I not using my scalar energy? He put the scalar energy on, and he could see the swelling go down because it was helping the body, just as we talked about. Well, next week we will be talking much more in depth about the science of scalar energy. Scalar energy is very, very complex, and it's not for the faint of heart. In fact, it is a quantum physicists are the ones that do the research about scalar energy. So it's quite in depth, but we will be going through it, and I will do my very best to make it as easy as possible to understand. And so please make sure that you help and tell people and share about our meetings that we have every week, and tell them that you're on the path to perfect health for life. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I made it really brief this week because I wanted to, of course, have a very simple explanation for scalar energy, like I mentioned right at the very beginning of our meeting here, is that sometimes we do get a little bit lost in the science-y talk of it. This is not, this is just a basic encompassing, excuse me, of why it is so beneficial.